is Isaac Birch. My topic was, does the adolescent brain make risk-taking inevitable? First off, I got a question for you guys. What is risk-taking to you? Anyone answer that? Mason?
I would say risk-taking is going out of your comfort zone, and it can either cause chaos or good.
That's pretty much it. Risk-taking is when you put yourself in either a situation that's dangerous or you could cause bodily harm or some way like that. Kind of what is that asking? Asking is risk-taking something one just does as an adolescent. In that way, it's pretty much just asking, as an adolescent, as a little kid, ages 8 to teenagers, are you prone to just take a risk? Or if you see a tree, are you going to climb it because you have to, or there's some other drive that's pushing you to do that? If you see a gun or something, are you just going to pick it up and randomly play with it? Is that something that just happens, or is there a choice in that? A lot of adults say that adolescents participate in a lot more high-risk activities, and in a way that's true, but in a way it's not, because adults participate in the same amount of activities. That adults just have a kind of a different perception of what risk-taking is compared to kids, because of their their knowledge from actually living a lot longer than what the kids have. How it relates to this class, it talks a lot about neurotransmitters, especially dopamine. It talks about hormones such as testosterone, social cognitive approach. A lot of this agrees with the behaviorists, such as Bandura, social thinking, social learning and thinking, self-petition, kind of how we view ourselves and where we put the blame. One argument that's for this is that dopamine is the neurotransmission in your brain that controls pleasures. Supposedly, when you take a risk, there's a big release of dopamine in your brain, and your brain learns to like that, and that it is motivating. Then you start to want more and more of that feeling, and that's kind of what adrenaline junkies get. They get that adrenaline high, and that's actually the dopamine acting on the brain. Another thing would be testosterone. A lot of younger kids, when they start to go through puberty and stuff, boys will take a lot more risk. It's just kind of how it is. A lot of studies show that boys are a lot more prone to take risks than girls are. Against Bandura's self-system was a big one. His experiment with Bobo dolls, stuff like that. Observational learning, reinforcements. A lot of people say that it's kind of something that it's just going to happen. It's not their environment or anything like that, but if you actually take it and watch, like with what Bandura did, he put a video up, the kids watched it, and then they repeated the motions and attacking a Bobo doll and stuff like that. But when they weren't showing the videos and then they were put in the same room, that the kids didn't react the same way as they did before. A lot of people say that we have a conscious choice, that we have our free will, that it's not just driven. We have a choice to think. We have that knowledge of what's right and wrong at a very young age, even though most people argue against that. It has been shown that you have a sense of right or wrong probably around 8 years old, around in there. A lot of our behaviors are chosen based on reinforcements and punishment, which is kind of like a kid who does something once probably is not going to do it again if they get spanked or something like that. But if they would get reinforced like that, say their parents applauded them for trying to take a risk or something like that, they're going to a lot more likely to try something else that's going to put them at risk and stuff like that. 4, this is a biological development. A lot of people say that the brain's still developing, that this causes a lot of actions that wouldn't normally happen. A lot, especially in the prefrontal cortex, which is supposed to control kind of your thought processes of what's possible and what's like of right and wrong, stuff like that. Again, puberty and hormones. Against perception of risk. A lot of the articles that I read through talked about how the adults would say that a kid was taking a big risk for their age or something like that, but the kid doesn't really perceive it as a risk. It's more of a game to a kid. A lot of times the kid is in a lot better shape to be able to do some of the things that an adult would not be able to do because of their age. And then again, adults do a lot of things that kids would think is a risk, like drinking, gambling, stuff like that. A kid's not willing to give $5 for the possibility of $500. He's not going to keep putting money in when he's just a kid, because to a kid $5 is a lot of money. To an adult, it's not really a lot of money, but that eventually builds up. Another thing is the attribution. There's an internal and external. Internal is when something bad happens to you, it was your fault, that you take it on yourself, that you did something wrong, and that it was your fault and that you have to find a way to fix it. External is more when something bad happens to you, you put the blame on someone else. Say, if you got a bad grade, you blame it on the teacher or something like that. A lot of times parents blame the kids, that it's all the kids' fault, even though that the parents might be doing something in the household that could lead to that potential risk. Where I stand on this, I'm against it. There's not really enough evidence to say that this is a for sure thing. There's a lot of evidence that kind of show that everyone has free will. I mean, you can make your own choice. You don't have to, say, climb that tree. You know that there's a possibility of you getting hurt. You've seen other people get hurt. You know that you possibly could get in trouble for climbing that tree. Just a lot of stuff like that.
Okay, great.